Lemon Creek, a sleepy town shrouded in shadows and secrets. Above it loomed Cemetery Hill, a gnarled finger pointing accusingly at the sky. It was a place where the veil between worlds thinned, where whispers of the departed clung to the wind. The townsfolk spoke of it in hushed tones, avoiding its path after sunset. They knew, as did every generation before them, that some places held ancient, unsettling truths. The cemetery gates, wrought iron twisted into macabre shapes, stood perpetually ajar, as if inviting the living to step into the embrace of the dead. Gravestones, weathered and worn, leaned at unnatural angles, marking the final resting places of souls long gone. The air grew heavy as you climbed the hill, thick with the scent of damp earth and the metallic tang of fear. The old cemetery was a place of whispers and shadows, where the boundary between the world of the living and the realm of the dead blurred. It was said that if you listened closely enough, you could hear the whispers of the departed, their voices carried on the wind that moaned through the cypress trees. But there were other sounds too. Children's laughter, light and chilling, echoing through the stillness. They appeared at dusk, as shadows lengthened and the moon cast a pale, spectral glow over the cemetery. Small figures, their silhouettes barely discernible against the darkening sky. They were children, or at least they seemed to be, but there was something unnerving about them. Something not quite right. Their laughter was a discordant melody, too high-pitched, too sweet, like the tinkling of glass chimes in a nightmare. It drifted down from the top of the hill, sending shivers down the spines of anyone who dared to venture near. The townsfolk whispered tales of these phantom children, their voices hushed and fearful. Some said they were the spirits of children lost in a long-ago tragedy, their souls unable to find peace. Others whispered of a darker truth, of a malevolent force that held these lost souls captive, using them for its own twisted amusement. Whatever their origins, one thing was certain. These were not children to be approached, their games not meant for mortal eyes. They moved with an unsettling grace, flitting between the tombstones like moths drawn to a flickering flame. Their skin was pale as moonlight, their eyes reflecting the cold, shimmering light of the stars. Their clothes, once bright and cheerful, were faded and tattered, as if ravaged by time and the elements. There was a strange stillness to them, an absence of life that chilled the very marrow. They moved with the fluidity of smoke, their footsteps silent on the overgrown paths. And always their eyes watched, cold and calculating, as if assessing the living who dared to intrude upon their domain. They seemed to delight in the fear they evoked, their laughter growing louder, more manic, as the terror of those who saw them escalated. They were the embodiment of every childhood nightmare, every whispered fear spoken in the dark. And they were drawing closer, their game of shadows about to take a sinister turn. Their faces were the most unsettling thing about them. Frozen in expressions of perpetual joy, they resembled nothing so much as antique porcelain dolls. But beneath the painted smiles, a chilling emptiness lurked. Their eyes, wide and unblinking, held no warmth, no spark of life. They would stare at those who crossed their path, their gazes piercing through flesh and bone, seeing into the deepest recesses of their souls. It was said that to meet their eyes was to invite madness, to glimpse the abyss that lay beyond the veil of reality. Some whispered that the dolls they carried were not toys at all, but vessels for their twisted spirits. They spoke of seeing the dolls move, their heads turning, their limbs twitching as if animated by some unseen force. And the laughter of the children echoed in the tinkling of the dolls' porcelain limbs, a chilling chorus that heralded the coming darkness.